It is 5 o'clock somewhere, and you've tuned into Season 2, Episode 8 of BRC. For those of you who'd like to watch this episode, I highly recommend it. We're live and in person on the Emerald Isle. You can view Season 2 on our website, YouTube, and Spotify. Today in our Tales from the Still segment, I speak with Neil Conway about his journey to become the head brewer at Waterford Distillery. Plus, we'll have a special appearance by Mark Renier, founder and CEO of Waterford, who tells us the roots behind the terroir-driven ideas for the company. Then later in the show, Chef Louise Leonard makes her Season 2 debut and pairs up something sweet with a Waterford micro cuvee. Stay with us. Today's Tales from the Still is brought to you by bwjamesjewelers.com. Show your love for bourbon everywhere you go. BourbonBarrelRings.com by B.W. James has some of the most unique bourbon barrel wedding bands, rings, and bracelets that you'll ever find. B.W. James has an exclusive offer for our audience. Use promo code BarrelRoom for $30 off your order of $199 or more. Hey Neil, thanks for coming in and chatting with us in this little beautiful barrel room you have going on here.
No problem. You're more than welcome. More than welcome.
We just finished taking the tour. It's fantastic. We'll go over all of that later in the show. But for right now, I would love to hear about your whiskey journey.
Oh, my whiskey journey. Okay, so I won't say I'm a novice in the whiskey journey, but I'm definitely not a novice in the brewing industry. So I've nearly had 25 years brewing experience. My journey started at Waterford in late 2016. So I suppose I missed the first year of production here, but I'm here ever since. So it's been a very, very good move for me. Exciting project. Every day is different, and more than happy made the move.
So when did you get into brewing? Did you go to school for brewing?
Yeah, so I started my apprenticeship as a brewer here at Waterford Brewery, the old Diageo plant. So I spent nearly 10 years as a brewer at Waterford. And then I changed to Guinness in Dublin. So I was a brewer there for 3 years. And then I just spent a little bit of time with Bailey's Mangarode bottling plant. Then I went out of the business altogether, because at that time in Ireland, I suppose the beer industry was on a downward spiral. Sales weren't going too great, so I got an opportunity to move to the dairy industry.
Oh,
so
wow.
I was there for 3 years, and I got a call from the guys here late 2016, see would I be interested in becoming head brewer here. Met Mark Renier, had a brief discussion with Mark about his plan and his journey and his ideas, and to be honest, after that discussion, I just jumped at the opportunity. It just sounded completely different to what was going on in the industry. His ideas, and I suppose his appetite for it and his drive for this project, I would have been mad not to jump on it.
So when you talked with Mark, how long did it take for you to say, yes, I'm on board?
Straight away. I came out of, I call it an interview, but basically it was Mark telling me what his plan was, and I came out of the interview not knowing whether I had a job or not. So no, I got a phone call pretty soon after to look, are you interested? Yeah, no bother, jump on board. So straight in the deep end, about 2 weeks later, looking at brewing, distilling, the whole Waterford concept. At that time we were just laying down stock of whiskey, so it was a good time to join, very good time to join. Basically it was at the start of the Waterford journey.
So when you started in the beer industry, did you ever think that you would A, go to the dairy side, or B, end up making whiskey?
No, once I moved over to the dairy industry, it was a brand new facility, 250 million investment, job for life, good job, close to home, didn't have to commute up and down to Dublin from where I live. I suppose I had a young family, so to make the move from a safe job over to the distilling, back to the brewing and distilling, it wasn't really a big decision. It was a decision, that's where I belonged, put it like that. Once the opportunity came, that's what I really wanted to do. If I wanted a safe bet and have a job for life, and was I really happy there? Probably not. And to come to back into the brewing industry and distilling industry was just a no-brainer for me. And I really only made that choice down to the conversation I had with Mark and his vision for his project. It was just exciting. I knew it was something different, And I knew if I didn't take that journey, I'd regret it.
Yeah. We had Mark on Spirits of Whiskey, which was the original podcast that we were doing. And he told us all about his terroir plan and all about the different barleys that we discussed on the tour. And I thought, wow, that's going to be an expensive undertaking to come out with the flavors that you deserve to come out with.
I resolved to actually do a definitive distillery, one that's a project, is probably unlike one that will ever come after it. I had the opportunity, we had the resources, and we had the knowledge of what to do, and the ability to set up a distillery from scratch, to distill 1 million litres of whiskey, so we wouldn't run out from day one, divided into 35 single farm units from day one, to have the traceability to be able to demonstrate that they are kept apart from the field right through to the barrel. The physical logistics to be able to do that, and the software, to monitor it, and of course the finance to support it. So that was what the Waterford project was about.
Tell me what it's been like to try to follow this path, because now you have to clean everything every time you do a batch and all of that.
Look, I suppose as a brewer, and my role here as head brewer or production manager, it's a bit of both. It's looking after the production of single malt whiskey. As a brewer previously for Guinness, it was basically you take in the raw material and you produce a beer from it. The add-on to the role I have is actually working directly with the farmers, working directly with the merchant who mines the grain, working directly with the maltster, and then we take in the batch of barley from a single farm batch. So the whole terroir concept was, I suppose, it wasn't new to me. It was just something different in my role. I suppose when you look at the Mark's terroir idea or concept, we all lived and breathed it in another way. We just didn't really understand it, what terroir was about. We all, if you look at greengrocer, grows potatoes or carrots, we all have our favourite potatoes. We all have our favourite place where we get our fruit and veg. That is terroir.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You prefer his produce over that produce because it grows in that side. So that's terroir for me in a simplified version. The terroir idea really generated in France and in the vineyards and grape growing, and how they regard soil and microclimate, how that impacts flavours of grape. So bring that into whiskey. Nobody else has done it, so bringing these single farms into the distillery was I suppose a challenge for me, because you really had to get those nuances, those differences in flavours coming through from the barley, really focusing in on the process and understanding fermentation, how that all impacts the terroir, how we can best get the flavours from the farm. So that's what excited me about the role, is the really sciencey side to it, the really understanding of having to understand the process, understanding the complications the farmer goes through in regards to how he grows his barley through the harvest season, the complications the maltster may have by doing these single farm batches. And then when we bring it through fermentation, that long and slow fermentation, the malolactic fermentation, how that enhances the flavour or liberates the flavours from each single farm. And then our slow distillation, how that brings flavour from each single farm to it. So it's just been a different journey, but a really rewarding journey.
So when I had Mark on the show, he had 3 expressions from 3 different farms available in the US. And when I came in today, I saw an entire wall of different blue bottles. How many different expressions do you have now that are available in the market here, and how many do you have that are available overseas?
So good question. So I'll go back to the single farm. So we've to date, over 6 years of production, we've used over 107 single farms. So every year we will take in the best 40 single farm growers based on quality of barley after harvest. Within that 40 we have organic growers, biodynamic growers who grow barley using biodynamic techniques. We have heritage variety, old varieties that we grow, that's included in that 40 single farms. So to date, as I said, we've used 107 as released single farm editions. So what we did, we laid down stock for the first 4 years. When it came to bottling, which unfortunately for us was during the middle of a pandemic, we released a few single farm editions so to allow the consumer compare and contrast what a single malt whiskey tastes from certain farms with different terroirs, different microclimates. So over the last few years we've released up to 30 single farm editions. Now, not to confuse things here, so certain markets or jurisdictions will request a single farm release just for that market, so that's kind of increased the numbers that we've released in the early days. So United Kingdom, Germany, Belgium, Canada, USA have got their own specific single farm editions. In Ireland we've access to majority of them. Few that we can't get, like we've released some to Taiwan and to the United States that we can't buy in Ireland. But a lot of people who are interested in our journey have gone to the ends of the earth to find these in the market and gotten back to Ireland or wherever they reside. So there's probably a little bit of a hurdle that they need to get through to get certain whiskey single malts. But we've also released organic single farm editions. Organic single malts, biodynamic single malts, and it's part of our Arcadian series. And our latest bottlings, which we released only last week, was our 2 peated whiskies from single farms and our heritage hunter variety, which is an old variety of barley. So we have up to 35, 36 single farm expressions of our... and then great. We have our cuvée. Our cuvées, which I forgot. Our cuvées are an amalgamation of all the single farms put together. So we have a grand cuvée released, and we also have micro cuvées, seasonal micro cuvées, which are 6 or 7 single farms put together, but using the four different casks that we put into our spirit in different ways. So if it was a winter cuvée, there might be more US casks used to give a more spicy flavoured whiskey for more mouth-warming whiskey at winter. Right. Whereas in the summer release micro cuvée, you might be more French cask, because we want more of a rosé colour or a more fruity flower flavoured whiskey at that time. So we can do a lot of things, and that's why we have so many different expressions released out there.
That's amazing. So what is your favourite that you've tasted out of what you guys have?
I have a lot of favourites for different reasons. Look, the single, I'll take them differently. So from the single farm releases, I suppose my palate, I prefer that more flower fruity flavoured whiskies. So little bit of spice in there. So barley grown on the Elton and Seafield series I prefer. So the Hookhead, I like Ballykilcavan, so they're one of the earlier releases. What's close to my heart is because of the projects that we've gone through are both the heritage old variety single malt, the latest release, and peated whiskies, just because my involvement in the project, and they're completely different what's out there in the industry. So personally I prefer those because of my input into the projects.
So let me ask you about the peated. So when I talked to Mark, you guys hadn't started that yet. So when you say completely organic and everything like that, where do you get your peat? Is that also locally grown?
Yes, so what we do is all our barley is Irish sourced barley from all these single farms throughout Ireland, from the north, south, east and west of Ireland, from all different locations, different terroirs. So we weren't going to do a peated range, but in our journey to find different flavours from all these different terroirs, we said let's look at peat and let's see if we source the turf in Ireland or the peat in Ireland, and obviously the Irish sourced barley, and let's see how they come together as a pair using Irish peat, Irish grown barley. Now we have to send Irish barley and the Irish sourced peat over to Scotland for the peating process, and then we bring it back for the bottling.
Wow.
All okay. Right. Sorry, not for the bottling, but for the production process, right. And then maturation, then bottling.
Wow. Okay, well, I think it's time we go taste some of these barrels. What do you think?
So we have actually peated right behind us, so I'll give you the first nearest one to us, so we can taste the peated whiskey that's maturing. So this is actually, we released our first peated range only last week, Fenniscourt and Ballybannon, so 2 single farms.
Wow.
So these 2 here are actually the Fenniscourt, the barley came from Gerborne's farm. The turf was sourced in Ballyteague in the central of our Midlands of Ireland.
Okay.
Single farm, so Ger's barley went to Scotland, as well as the 50 tonne of turf, peat, over to Scotland for the peating process, came back, we brewed, fermented, distilled, and then we put the spirit in cask here. Okay, so it's sit here for since September 2018, so just over 5 years.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's take a look.
4 years. 4 years. Sorry, 4 years.
Yeah, 4 years, 5 years. It's all a long time.
Okay.
It's a great sound.
You want to do this?
Oh, sure.
You have the honors. Lovely. Cobwebs and all. It just adds to the flavour. Brilliant. Alright. So this is went in at 71%. It's probably down around 69 now, okay? Alright. So
it's not too heavy on the peat.
No. So on the nose, so this is 37 ppm.
Okay.
So lightly peated, purposely, so it see what reaction. We still want those flavours from the barley coming through. We don't want to over smoke it, so it takes over. So we want the two to work together. So see what flavours come from both the peat and the malt, and see what reaction comes through. So on the nose, not a whole lot of peat. When you taste it,
It's hot on the front and not so much on the back. That's interesting.
and then the teeth opens up then.
Yeah.
You get the peat then at the back of your mouth. So
Yeah, no, that doesn't hit you in the face. That's very nice. Yeah, I might actually drink this.
yeah. So what we'll do after this, and we'll taste it in the bottle at 50% ABV, the
Okay.
finished article.
Great.
All right. Well, it's going well. Very happy with it.
Yeah, it's got some good legs too.
All right. We'll give some back into the. All right.
I'm gonna pass mine to the boys. If
Yeah.
that's all right.
Hey.
Cheers.
Be rude not to, wouldn't it? Yeah. Very good. So the other latest bottling we did was the peated, and we also tasted that in cask down below. So now this is the finished article. We tasted in again an ex-bourbon blood tub. Again, we Irish sourced barley, Irish sourced turf, sent us cotton for the peating process, brought back to the distillery, went through all the process here, through the maltings and process here, and again 4 different types of casks put together, released as a single bottle, Fennis Court.
All right.
All right.
Let's go. Oh, that smells much different than it did in the cask. It's a fruitier, smoky smell.
Yes. Very light on the nose, peated wise. He doesn't come through much, but it opens up the mouth like that.
And that's very smooth.
And you weren't a big fan, Kevin.
No,
Are we
but it does taste much peatier in this version than it did in the cask. Oh, that's delicious. Good job, you.
Very good.
So, what one is this? And tell me about this heritage program you guys are doing.
Okay, so this is Heritage Hunter. So this is one of the very first old heirloom varieties we resurrected from the Department of Agriculture.
Oh, wow.
So in our journey to find different flavours, we said let's go back in time and let's see what old varieties, we grew them, see what flavours will come through. We feel that the more modern barley varieties have been bred over the last 30, 40 years, have been bred for yield purposes, for both the grower and for breweries and distilleries. So we wanted to go back in time. Let's see, can we find old varieties, grow them, bring them through the process, mature them, and see what flavours we get.
Okay.
They might be great, but they might be fantastic.
All right,
Let's see what
let's
we're missing. So this is Hunter variety, and I can tell you a little bit of history about the Hunter variety. It's predominantly grown in Ireland in the 50s and 60s in Ireland, right? Between 50s and 60s. It's more the most modern of the heritage varieties, okay? So this again is just over 4 years old. Alright. Nice colour on that.
Yeah.
You can put some of that one in my glass in it.
Okay.
Alright. So I haven't tasted this one in quite a while. So we released the Heritage single malt whiskey last week.
Okay.
It was just over 3.5 years old.
Oh, that's got a nice earthy nose. You can smell the barley on that. That's nice. It's got a nice bite at the end.
Malty, fruity as well.
Yes,
isn't it?
very malty.
Good colour.
It's like oatmeal with a kick at the end. Love it.
completely different than what we're normally used to with the single farm. It's just after bringing a different spin to it. So I'll talk to you a little bit about the project. So it started back in 2016 where we went to the Department of Agriculture in Ireland. So these guys have a seed bank in the departments where they hold old varieties of cereals. So we asked them, could they find us the oldest varieties they could get their hands on. So they came back to us and said, look, we have a Hunter variety from the 50s, 60s, 70s in Ireland, and we have a Goldthorpe variety, which hasn't been grown in Ireland since the start of the early 1900s, in 1905, 1906. So we took 50 grams of each of those varieties, and over 2 years we propagated these varieties up to give enough seed, 1 ton of seed to a grower to grow on his farm.
Wow.
So it took a lot of people. So the people in the Department of Agriculture, our partner at Minch Malt, these guys had the land for us to grow barley in, and then we successfully took it into the distillery here over 3 years ago. Brought it through the process with difficulty because it's a rare heritage variety that doesn't go well through the process.
Right.
But we got it through it. We got it maturing in the 4 different types of cask, and we released a single malt.
That's a beautiful color
last week. So behind the Hunter variety then there is Old Irish, which hasn't been grown in Ireland since in the late 1800s. That's the oldest variety we could find. So that will come in 2 years' time. We've Sprat Archer, which is 1920s, and Hunter here. The Hunter variety is actually is special. The way it worked out, the Hunter variety was named after a guy called Herbert Hunter. He came to Ireland in the early 1900s. This guy was employed by Guinness in the early 1900s to come to Ireland from the UK to start a barley breeding program.
Nice.
So his job was to crossbreed varieties that were available in Ireland at the time, Goldthorpe, Old Irish, these landrace varieties. Start breeding them together so that they would yield better for both the brewery and distilleries. Basically for more consistency for the breweries and distilleries. So he worked in Ireland for 20, 30 years. When he retired, then he bred a variety called Sprat and Archer, and they named it Hunter after him.
That's great.
All right.
This is wonderful.
So that variety is down to his work and breeding program in Ireland. Ooh, that's the distillery ghost. Right, Kerry. So what we have here is our Heritage Hunter. We tasted
we just taste it?
spirit and cask, but this is it in the final bottle that was released last week.
Oh, wow.
So something little taste. 50% ABV. So Ned, our head
50 even.
50 even. All our releases are 50 even.
Okay.
So when Ned Gann, our head distiller, when he puts these whiskies together, we use the 4 different types of cask: your ex-bourbon cask, your virgin US oak, your French oak, and your VDN sweet wine sherries. He puts the 4 casks together on different percentages and releases single.
And which cask was the one we were tasting?
We tasted a small ex-bourbon.
Okay.
Yeah, blood tub. So it matured very well.
Yeah, this one's got, it smells the same, but yet it's got a more pungent, more pop to the nose. Okay.
So more colour from the virgin oak that was used as well from the US virgin.
Oh, that's way smoother than what we just had.
Yes, it's
oh,
good.
it's delicious. The other one's good. I had a great bite at the end. This one has a nice soft finish.
It's good.
Oh, yeah.
For a young spirit, it's still only 3.5 years old.
It's delicious.
So
it's got a great blend for those casks, that's for sure.
Very good. So that's the Hunter variety, circa 1950s to 1970s. We resurrected that one. So as I said, older varieties are coming behind that.
That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time today. This has been a great education. I love the tour. And we'll keep checking back with you guys for new updates and new varieties and see where you're going from here.
Excellent. Thank you, Gary.
Pleasure.
World of Wheezy is up next. Stay with us.
Like what you've seen on BRC? Want to see more? Experience more? And maybe even taste more? Then head over to our Ko-fi site and become a member of the Barrel Room Parlor. By choosing the copper level membership, you'll have exclusive access to videos related to topics discussed on the podcast and blog posts for members only. As an Amber member level, you'll enjoy everything from our copper level as well as various spin-off series including The Cutting Room Floor and Kindred Spirits. In addition, the Amber membership includes exclusive discounts to live in-person events. To join, visit www.barrelroomchronicles.com and click on Become a Member in the navigation bar. Or go straight to our Ko-fi site at ko-fi.com/BRC and click on the membership link. Once you've joined, you'll have access to everything your chosen level has to offer. You'll even be able to participate with the show by commenting on videos and other posts. Don't wait. Sign up today for exclusive content and event discounts in the Barrel Room Parlor.
Louise, it is
Kerry.
lovely to have you in studio again today. It's been a while. Haven't been anything on season 2 yet. So, because I was in Ireland and you couldn't come because you were off in Paris and London and other places.
Oui, mademoiselle. Yes, I was.
Today, I'm going to have you try the micro cuvee from Waterford Distillery that I got there when I was there. So we'll put that over here. And then, we had Mark Renier on Spirits of Whiskey back in the day, and you got to taste the 3 that he sent before. I don't remember what we did with that one, though. I'll have to look it up. But this one is quite different, this micro cuvee. So let me think. Tell me what you think about it.
Well, okay. First of all, I'm not sure if you know this, but I am from a town in Wisconsin called Waterford. Now, we are not known for our crystal there. Okay, Ireland. Yes, thus the crystal top on the bottle. However, what we are known for is the Waterford Bowl. May it rest in peace. I think it burnt down a while ago. I'm not exactly sure what happened to it, and they rebuilt it. I know it's not the same, but at the Waterford Bowl, there was this delicious sandwich called the torpedo.
What?
It was the
Was
thing.
it a sub? It must have been a sub.
Yeah.
It's shaped like
And
a
it
sub.
had I think it went into a toaster oven, and it had some sort of beef and cheese and red sauce and whatever. I can't tell you all about the torpedo because that's a long time ago. However, that is the thing I think of when I think of Waterford, Wisconsin at this point in my life is the torpedo sandwich at the bowling alley. Nice. How pathetic is that?
No, it's fine. It's a childhood memory, and it gets the senses.
It is one of my childhood memories. But that being said, this whiskey... Okay, this whiskey... I'm sorry, Waterford, Wisconsin, but is too eloquent for
the torpedo
sandwich, and that ain't happening. But what it's perfect for, though, is Korean barbecue.
Oh,
hear me out.
Yeah, no, I can taste.
Okay, so hear me out. This is very barley forward. Anyway, when you go to Korean barbecue or to Korean restaurants in Los Angeles, oftentimes they will bring you a little glass of barley tea, like cold barley tea, unsweetened.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just basically the barley groats that are soaked in water, and they make a tea out of it.
I had no idea that was a thing.
It's a thing. It's very healthy, and it's very refreshing. And I don't know, for some reason, when I taste this and I taste the barley, it takes me to that place. I mean, Korean barbecue is like part of the fabric of Los Angeles. Like, show me an Angelino that's never had Korean barbecue. Like,
you know what? I haven't had it until recently.
Okay, keep that to yourself. Okay, don't admit that.
Well, okay. So, I'm not a big on Asian foods because, well, depends. I don't like sweet and sour, soy, or teriyaki, so that cuts out like half of everything.
Okay, but that's also very specific, and there's many foods of Asia that don't even have
right. So with that being said, I'm always telling my nieces and my friends' kids, my friends' kids said, I don't like burritos. I was like, well, this is a breakfast burrito, but I don't like burritos. I said, well, how do you know that? Because I tried a burrito. I said, you tried one burrito? Yeah. And I said, okay, what was in it? She's like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, well, I'm sure it wasn't a breakfast burrito because you like eggs, you like potatoes, and you like bacon, and that's what's in this. And she goes, oh. So I decided I can't be forcing the kids to open up their mind about food if I don't open up my mind about food. So I'm like, all right, well, Korean, I don't know that I've had Korean, and I don't know that there's that much sweet and sour soy in those.
No, those are not flavors.
Yeah, those are not right.
Cooking.
So my oldest niece,
soy, yes, but not.
Yeah. I can do soy if it's light. If it's drenched in it.
You're very white, by the way.
Yes, I know.
I mean, I know I'm very white, but I try to eat non-white.
So for my niece's college graduation, she took us to a Korean barbecue place, and they brought the food out, and we got to cook it. And I was like, what is this? And she's like, how have you never had this? And I'm like, I don't know, but it was delicious, and we got to cook it ourselves.
This whiskey, being that it's got that barley forward taste, slight smokiness. You imagine putting some kalbi on the barbecue. You imagine putting all the various meats, the pork. Oh my gosh, the pork to me is one of my favorites. I like to go to a place called Sit Buljit because they actually use real coal.
Oh, wow.
And you will leave there smelling like a full-blown grill for sure. Worth it. Go home and shower, wash your clothes. It doesn't matter because the food is so delicious, and the meat that comes off of that grill, honestly, I might actually want to just bring a flask of this in the next time I go. Seriously, because this is a perfect pairing. Perfect pairing.
It's really delicious. So I think we'll have to do that next time.
And also too, like a lot of the, especially some of the kimchis that use the Korean chili paste, it's called gochujang. I know I'm probably not saying that correctly. I'm sorry. No, everyone knows I don't speak Korean, throwing that out there. But that also has sugar in it. So it has a little bit of sweetness as well.
Right.
So all of those flavors with this whiskey would be on point, like A+ pairing.
Well, I think we should go to that place right now and have some food. And I'll pack us some flasks and we'll go.
Yeah.
Right,
pack many flasks.
Louise, as always, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
That does it for today's show. To read notes on this episode or learn more about our guests, please visit barrelroomchronicles.com. Want to interact with the show or have questions for our guests? Then ask them on our socials or send us an email through our website. Or better yet, leave us a voicemail on our website and your recording might be played in our new Speakeasy segment. If you like what you heard, please rate and subscribe to the podcast. If you really liked it and you want to show your support, buy us a whiskey through our Ko-fi site at ko-fi.com/BRC or become an exclusive member of the Barrel Room Parlor, where you'll get exclusive content not seen anywhere else. If you work in the whiskey or spirits industry or just have a deep passion for whiskey and want to share your spirits journey, register to be a guest through our website. Last but not least, please enjoy your spirits responsibly. Thanks for joining me. Until next time, Solanjeva.
Barrel Room Chronicles is a production of First Reel Entertainment and is distributed by Spotify for podcasters and is available on Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Amazon, and wherever you enjoy your favorite podcasts.